Welcome to today's episode of Feeding the Wolf of Possibilities. Today, we're going to dive in to what is possible when you follow your dream, even the impossible ones. As our guide, I've invited Jarryd Nurden, performer, model, athlete, influencer, coach, and musical artist, currently living in London and from a tiny community in South Africa. What would change in the world if you, me, and everyone choose to feed the wolf of possibilities instead of the one of doubt, distrust, and despair? The way I see it, our point of view creates reality, not the other way around. Somewhere deep within, I think we know that. In this podcast, I am daring you to claim this remarkable superpower. Join us and be inspired by trackers, explorers, and finders of possibilities from the multiverse of hope. Welcome to the podcast, Feeding the Wolf of Possibilities, with your host, Katarina, Wallentin.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here, and especially to be talking about what is possible with dreams, to make them endless and not finite.
Right, and not a goal.
And not a goal. Yeah, to keep evolving them.
Yes, the continuous dream. So this
the continuous dream. There we go.
What is possible with having a continuous dream? Okay, yeah. So let's dive in. So when you were a kid, what was your dream?
Okay, if I go back to when I was a kid, I wanted to be a wildlife vet.
You wanted to
and
be
work
what?
with animals, a wildlife vet. So that's a vet that works in the bush in South Africa. So kind of with all the wild animals. Yeah. And then something, I think it was, and I still think if the schooling system wasn't so rigid, I think I still could have achieved that dream. But it was all because of like maths and science, and you needed to be a clever person in inverted commas. I'm doing that with my fingers as I speak. But that kind of, I would say that was my first childhood dream. And then but I had many dreams. I think you're definitely getting the right person on your podcast for this topic. I'm a big dreamer.
So tell us a little bit about all your dreams. You know, I get you had many dreams. So wildlife vet, that's amazing.
Okay, wildlife vet was one. The other one was definitely to be a global performer. Like I remember watching Michael Jackson when I was 4 years old. And I think my parents went to one of his concerts. And I just remember watching this old TV with the show happening, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. And as a 4-year-old, I remember that memory so clearly. Just going, I want to be him. And I got the hat and the glove, and I would do the dance moves. And yeah, so when anyone ever asks me why did I go down performing and who inspired me, I always say Michael Jackson, because he was such an inventor. He just created so many possibilities. Yeah.
You know what? He also created himself.
He did. Yeah, completely against the grain, against what anyone thought he should have been. Yeah, he just followed his knowing and created magic, which was amazing. So yeah, wildlife vet, performer, and then I also wanted to be a fashion designer. So I drew lots of dresses for women.
So living in this small community in South Africa, what was that like to have all those dreams? Were people supportive and interested, or what happened?
Not really. I think my immediate people were supportive of my dreams, but in those small towns, because there's nothing tangible, like you can't really, there's no performers in the town, or there's no musicals that come into the town, and like arts wasn't a big thing, and so fashion schools weren't a thing, and modeling wasn't a thing, and all these places where I dreamt of being weren't in my small town. So I think me wanting to go down that route, it almost felt like an unattainable dream. But I think one thing that I always was very grateful for is this burning passion that I was just born with inside me, that just was like, like compelled, I just have to do it. Like, someone help me. Where can I do this? So it immediately made me start asking questions from such a young age and going, how can I do this? Where can I do this? And slowly those people and solutions started coming into my path, which was quite cool.
So can you describe, you described it's like the passion within you that kept driving you forward.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that? What is that? What is that for you? Like a demand, an energy?
It's definitely an energy. It's an energy, and it's that true knowing inside. It's like in the middle of your stomach, like just behind your heart. It's that I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think that, and I have such a history with stuff going wrong in my life and traumas and the whole story. I could talk for hours on that, but we're going to leave that story. But what always saved me in every single situation was that light, that knowing inside, that energy inside going, followed with the question, there has to be something greater than this. There must be something else. Like I know I can evolve bigger than this town. I know I can learn more. Where can I learn more? Who can teach me? How can I get there? And I think that having that energy pushing you the whole time helps you seek greater possibilities. And then I just kept following that passion. And thankfully, it's quite stubborn inside of me.
It must be, but it's nearly like a survival energy.
That's it. Absolutely.
It allows you to keep going, like take one more step continuously.
Yeah. Because I think there was so much, because I was born into survival mode. So it was like connected with the survival mode and the dream. The dream was the hope. And I almost want to say the twinkles and the stars and the glitter and all that beautiful, higher vibrational stuff that I wanted. And then the survival mode was helping me push toward that energy to get out of certain circumstances.
So how did you start pursuing your dream finally? How did you get out of the small, community? What happened?
I think the one huge thing where I'm so grateful for is I had a very allowing mother. She was in so much allowance of me and whatever, and she believed in me, and she really trusted in what I wanted to do and what I was seeing, because she always knew I was different. And she allowed me to discover who I am. And if I wanted to sing, okay, cool, we're gonna do with the best resources that we have, we're gonna go find how we can do that. And then so we just constantly did that. And I think it was an opportunity when I was 16 and I was extremely depressed. And it was high school and it was hormones, and it was just, I was in this environment that just wasn't conducive for me. And I jumped into the car and my mother said, there's an audition, a national audition, in this town 2 hours away, a bigger town, and I want you to go and audition for this show. It's a reality TV show to find the two leading stars of a musical that will go on an international tour. And it was for High School Musical at the time. It was a huge craze. And I was like, I don't want to audition. I'm too scared. I don't have confidence. I don't have any of this stuff. Absolutely not. And she was like, you're going to audition. So I was like, fine. So I think that's sometimes when parents trust their knowing with their kids to give them that confidence versus forcing. I think that was such a moment where that was required for her to really push my confidence and go, come, this could be a breaking moment for you in your life. And long story short, I did the audition and I went through many rounds and I managed to get to the top 6 in South Africa as a 16-year-old. I was young and I was on television and I was singing and dancing and just learning from all these creators in the industry. And that kind of helped me propel my career into the mainstream industry of South Africa. So then I knew where to go and study there after that, after high school. I made the right connections with producers. It's almost like the universe kind of gave me that moment and was like, okay, we know you from a town where nothing artistic is happening. So let's put you in a space where you can meet all these people. And then it's up to you now to action the possibilities thereafter. And then so I went on the journey.
Well, so then I have to ask you, so, now you're there, you have all these possibilities, right? So is that drive still going? Are you like a dissatisfied dreamer?
Still seeking. Because at that stage, the career I was going to have was to become a landscape architect. That wasn't even going to be a performer. I was going to design houses and landscaping, and I was riding my horses at the time. So I was also competing as an equestrian athlete as well, all around the country. So I was like, I have all these show jumping dreams. And then
you are quite a Renaissance man, you have a lot of different talents.
Yeah, everywhere, a lot of different things. I was like, how am I going to do it all? And at that time, performing was still there. And I think what's always been so cool about the performing for me is how it surprised me every time. Like I will start learning a song and I'll go, oh my gosh, I just sang that. How cool is that? Like I'm like, did that come out of me? So there's still this like very new kind of experience. And still today in London, like I will be training with really good vocal coaches and challenging myself to sing new material or dance more difficult choreography or pieces. And I'll go, oh my gosh, okay, cool. How do I do that? What tools can I use to get better? So yeah, I think I'm continually wanting to evolve in that sense. But when we were talking about the dream being an endless possibility and not finite, I think that first experience was when I booked my first dream musical. And I booked one of the leads in West Side Story. And it was this iconic musical. And I was playing one of the leaders in the Jets and the gang. And I had a 60-piece orchestra every night to perform to. And it was like mental. And I think I was 22 at the time. And when that show finished, I was like, like what's next? And long story short, because now I'm 7 years down the line, and the common question every time you have an interview is, what is the dream musical? And I get asked that this year more than ever. Like, what is the dream musical? What is the dream part? And I'll go, well, I played a couple of my dream shows already, and it's been such a gift. And which is your favorite? I'm like, can't choose a favorite because all of them were so special in their own ways. But I think my answer now is I want to be part of something that's new, that hasn't been done before, working with creatives that are able to change the world of possibilities and write new musicals, maybe even about consciousness and sharing the tools. You never know. And just going, what else is possible? Instead of trying to recreate a dream of old material, I think I'm wanting to see what's truly possible in the global scheme of things.
Well, and you live in London now, and you are, a musical artist in the West End. And I know you were going to perform in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella, and then it got canceled. So what happened with you then? Like, what did that create?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yes.
It's called Being You, Changing the World. It was hysterical, actually, because we started the five Being You, Changing the World with Dr. Dane here, and it was amazing. It was my first Being You class, my first live class in person since COVID. My whole world I was just like, universe, how does it get better than this? How? And just continually asking the questions and really having that energy we were talking about, that desire, that passion, that energy, and going, how can, okay, if I've been taught all these tools and access, right, how can I make this better than I could even imagine? And every day I was asking that question, and what else is possible? Literally every day. So much magic was happening in the course. And on day 3, I think it was a Sunday, my agent was trying to call me, and I was like, I will call you straight after the class finishes. And I got out the class, I picked up the phone, phoned him, and he said, I've got bad news for you. Unfortunately, Cinderella's been cancelled. And I remember in that moment, just obviously pausing, but just being so in shock. But the weirdest thing happened is I felt a sense of relief in my energy. And I was like, why do I feel relieved? But externally, I'm feeling this energy of I need to react and respond the way everyone else is reacting and responding. And I almost feel like I have to be sad, I have to be angry, and I have to completely lose my shit because I've just lost a beautiful job in the West End for a year. In hindsight, when I looked back to the moment, the universe was letting me know that this news was happening, because for 2 weeks, when I thought about going to rehearsals, it felt like I wasn't going to do this. I kept going, why do I feel like I'm not going to be rehearsing on the 6th of June for this show? And I was like, no, I want to feel those feelings of like, this is going to happen. But I know my knowing is so strong that it's telling me it's not. And then when I went back to the phone call and I felt my whole nervous system like calm down, relax, my energy relaxed when I got the news. I was like, what is that? And then, I got help facilitated a bit on the whole ending. And the incredible Dane, like he was just so amazing. And he said, can he help? And I was like, you're amazing. And he phoned me and I had a call with him and he facilitated me. And he was just like, what questions have you been asking over this time that are shifting the molecules for greater and the greatness in your life? And what magic are you being, and what magic is the universe being with you? That if you don't see this as what the rest of the industry is seeing it as, like this devastation and everyone's getting angry at Andrew Lloyd Webber and if you shift and go, what possibility now is actually being created from this moment? Um, and at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any money. Your whole old psyche goes back to those triggers, because I don't think the triggers ever leave you, but it's having to jump on those triggers and go, I see you. You're not going to pull me down, but I'm going to try pivot on that trigger and go, okay, now is the time, if ever, I have to practice these tools that I've been really learning about these past 2 weeks, and try lean in and action the what else is possible, and how does it get better than this in this moment. And I promise you, the magic showed up like so quickly. With the click of a finger, I had incredible support from the industry show up toward me, just lots of messages, just sending just so much love and that beautiful supportive energy. And then had friends come up and go, how can I help you survive financially for this period? And just all these just beautiful little pieces of magic started showing up. And I was going, okay, cool. We just got to follow the breadcrumbs of consciousness and just be present and just keep asking questions every day.
One of the things, well, I also find it so amazing. You said how you kind of relaxed when he told you this, right? But it's also you knew and that you wouldn't be rehearsing or practicing. So basically you were told, okay, yeah, you do know this. You already know this. And then you can relax, and then you can handle anything. It's literally a beautiful example of that.
Yeah. And it's it doesn't happen enough in this reality, where we have those, where we can truly trust that. And and anyone who's listening, I just invite you to just trust your knowing, like be present and just go with that knowing. Because it's also individual, and it literally was my dream, one of my dreams, to be in the West End on stage. But when you take that finite dream and explode it into possibilities, then at some point that dream's going to happen, but so much more stuff that I didn't even know about is going to happen as well. And what if all the scheduling and being able to do horse riding, the stage, the fashion, all of the things I want to do, the healing, the guiding, the helping, what if I can do all of that with total ease, and it all just works out, and I don't have to keep having the control factor of going, oh, I need to control this dream and how it happens. And okay, now that I know it's happening, I'm going to control the next dream and the steps as to how to get there. And then, yeah, it's also like narrow, small, whereas this opportunity, and I'm going to say it as an opportunity, is really kind of cut the cord of that control, and it has gone, you got to open it up and really just be in receiving for what else is possible.
That's beautiful. So if we have somebody who's listening who has like an impossible dream, they dream of something that no one around them in their city or village or whatever can even fathom, what would be the greatest tool they could use in addition to giving up control, like you just gave?
Yes, I would say always action. So I think with me, we can learn all these incredible tools with consciousness, and like the questions and learning to our knowing and all of that. But if you're wanting to achieve a dream, like an unfathomable dream, like performing, like what I did, my journey, I went and learned everything that I could about it. And I was like, and I've never stopped training. So yes, I went to a theater school But every year, even now, I will find a dance class, and I will find the best singing teachers I can. And there's so much stuff on YouTube as well. Just be a self-teacher, a self-seeker, because the dreams can happen, but sometimes we're too scared to put in that work. Like, yes, everything about manifestation, but a lot of the time action is required. So I always see it as action, and then listen to those breadcrumbs of consciousness to direct you for that next step, and then action, and then go, and then action, and then go. And then eventually you're climbing up that ladder, and before you know it, you're in a completely different place, the place you dreamed about being, and then go further. And then ask a question when you get to that platform and go, okay, cool. Now what else is possible? And maybe by then you have a different dream. Yeah. And for anyone in a small town, wherever you are in the world, you're going to have people who are going to block you at every turn. You're going to have people who hate you. You're going to have people who dislike you. And that was the number one thing I had to become comfortable with, was because I was such a people pleaser. I said, I'm going to people please everyone around me to not live my dream, because they don't want me to live my dreams. I'm not going to live my dream, and I'm just going to do what everyone else thinks I should be doing. And I just say to you, don't do it. Even if you cannot see a reflection of who you can truly be around you, still trust you, because only you will know how far you can go. And even in South Africa, when I was performing, my industry didn't believe that I could get to London and be a performer here. I believed that in me, and it was so hard because no one wanted to really give me those opportunities, or that big break, or that big leading man moment, whatever it was. And I was like, you know what? I can do that. So anyone at home listening, or anywhere where you're listening, just keep being you, number one, and just do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a perfect place to end. Thank you so much. And you are such a beautiful dreamer.
Just look me in the eye. Face it, babe, the answer's plain to see. I'm too hot for you. I know it's so unfair. I'm too hot for you, and you're just kinda there. I'm too hot for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, Feeding the Wolf of Possibilities. I hope you have more space in your world now. If you would like to listen to earlier episodes, share with other people, or subscribe, please go to Spotify, iTunes, or visit katarinawallentin.com/wolf.